I like the tackle out of Oregon. And we're here so they can hear us, but I love the tackle out of
Quagga.
Oregon.
Yeah, I do too. Met him at the Senior Bowl. He screams Raider.
Yeah, he does.
The way he's from Tacoma. He's like a cool dude, but like a mean streak on the
Right.
field.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing.
Totally.
Yeah, that big of a mean streak.
Yeah. He's a mauler.
Cool. All right, let's have some fun.
So much of this is what happens at quarterback.
Yeah.
I can't see that they're gonna.
Yeah,
they're not gonna get one, at least one.
I would hope so.
The first 2 rounds.
Bobby will keep Vinny for 10 minutes, and then I'll finish the monologue. We'll go to break. You can replay Gannon or save it for Jeff Sherman.
I was thinking we're going to play Gannon at 105.
Okay. Whatever you say. You're the boss. All right. Good. I'm happy your family's doing well.
How about you?
Real good.
What do we
Everybody
got
can
here?
hear.
So-
Everybody can hear. Good. Thank you.
So we're what do we have a graduate, right? Or
Yeah, we got a graduate who's a sports agent now. He works for the guy who reps Tim Brown,
okay,
Marcus, Freddie, Rod Woodson, Shannon Sharp.
right?
So he's doing that. And then my son comes home in a week and he finishes his junior year at ASU. And they get out early. I mean, and he got an internship. He's going to work for the Raiders
Okay.
just for the summer, kind of like a football thing. So I'll make sure he introduces himself to you when he sees you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then it should be you going to take any time this summer off a little bit?
Yeah, I'm going to get that finalized. My niece is getting married in New York, so
Okay.
We'll be heading out for there
Mhm.
June. Gonna catch a Met game.
Good.
Here, Yankee fans.
Hey, the Mets are shockingly, surprisingly.
Yeah,
I thought they'd be in the tank after that first week.
yeah.
They're actually in
They're
a pretty good
competitive.
spot. Yeah, they're competitive.
A couple bad nights in San Francisco. They never play well in San Francisco. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
So that one's chalk goes up to.
They're in San Francisco now, right?
Yeah, I think they got one more game.
Good. Sounds good. And what do you got coming out? Let me promote what you got coming out.
I did a 5-year recap of the draft picks.
Yeah.
I guess we can, if you want to talk about it, it's gotten better.
Yeah, let's get into that.
Quarterback, free agency, and coaching. The Raiders have plenty of cash. As the great philosopher Randy Moss once said, straight cash.
We sounding good in your ear? Does it sound good?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm hearing a lot of static,
Yeah.
Bobby. No big deal.
Well, yeah. Oh, do you normally sit there?
No,
You got to kind of play with the.
yeah. Normally I don't.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to switch? Because that's you got to kind of pull it out just a little bit.
First time, yeah.
It's like a tricky. Okay.
Out of the gate, JT, as we open it up live here on the flagship Raider Nation Radio and on the YouTube live stream. JT the Brick YT as we get rolling. It's a pleasure to have Vinny Bonsignor in studio here with me. Always great to see you. We usually miss each other this early in the show here because you're done or you're back at the facility and
Right.
writing a column. And that's what you're doing today. You're buttoning up a column. Tell us about that.
I am, and if I knew I was going to be on TV, I would have dressed better. But it's one of those things on the fly. It's just it's draft
You
weekend.
look great.
So thank you too. I just wrapped up actually my show earlier today, but also a story evaluating the last 5 drafts of the Raiders. And if you think about the last 5 drafts, that goes back to 2019. And I can say it didn't start off too well, other than obviously Max Crosby coming in was the 4th round in 2019. But a lot of wasted first-round picks over 2019, 2020, and 2021. We all know the names, just really nobody to show for it over those years. And only Tyree Wilson over the last 7 first-round picks over the last 5 years is still with the team. And I think he still has a bright future.
Mhm.
But, as bad as it was, it's actually gotten a little bit better.
Mhm.
I felt like looking back now, Mike Mayock and John Gruden kind of found their groove after the first round in 2021 when they reached for Alex Leatherwood. But aside from that, in 2021, you still got Nate Hubbs.
Mhm.
You got Malcolm Kuntz. You got Trayvon Merrick. I'm missing somebody as well, but they found some decent players in 2021. And then, when you talk about the 2022 class, which was largely Devante Adams, they traded the first 2 picks of that draft for Devante Adams. Dylan Parham was a day one starting guard. They've got some other players that they feel can still contribute. And then last year's draft class, it all kind of hinges on Tyree Wilson, but Trey Tucker, Michael Mayock, Jacorian Bennett, Byron Young, a 3rd round pick who kind of redshirted last year. About half of that class last year redshirted. But as Tom Telesco said, all of those players made the team. It was 9 players, and they all made the team last year. So that's a pretty good sign. So like I said, as bad as it started out in 2019, 2020, and the first round of 2021, it's actually gotten quite a bit better over from the second round of the 2021 draft on into 2022 and 2023. It's gotten a lot better.
Vinny Bonson, you're in studio. So the big takeaway of the players who are no longer here and no longer in the league, very competent GMs with an opportunity, and they drafted other good players, but some of them didn't do well. Where would the team be? And I know that's a really difficult question because one playoff appearance, close last year on the verge of the playoffs. But if you look at this overall, let me ask you what you think was one of the worst moves that they made that really held the team back heading into this particular draft.
Well, I think the Alex Leatherwood pick in 2021 was just a bad pick overall. I think the Damon Arnett pick in 2020 was a pick that just didn't make sense at the time and never made sense. And we all know what's going on with Damon Arnett. Both of those picks nobody thought of Damon Arnett as a 1st round pick, let alone the 19th pick overall.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thought Alex Leatherwood was a 1st round pick, other than the Raiders, of course, let alone the 17th pick overall. I remember when I usually have somebody somewhere in the NFL who texts me the pick for the Raiders, before you see it on TV and all that kind of stuff, because it comes across their desk. And when they drafted Alex Leatherwood, it was Alex Leatherwood, guard, tackle, Alabama, followed by, in parentheses, and this is somebody in the NFL, WTF, question mark, question mark, question mark. And I was like, Alex Leatherwood, really? And so those were picks that at the time, it's not just, oh, wow, it didn't work out. But man, I would have made that same pick at that pick.
Yeah.
It had been me. Not only did not work out, but they just weren't picks that anybody saw coming or anybody would have executed around the league. So those are massive. Those are considered massive reaches at the time.
Looking back on the Cleveland Farrell pick, he was the captain of the defense of the national championship team. Not too shoddy, right?
Christian Wilkins was on that team too.
Yeah, right. So you're looking at a player who was elite on that team, but I didn't think number 4 overall.
Right.
And Alex Leatherwood was a 2-time national champ, 2-time All-American, and won the Outland Trophy Award.
True.
And you sit there and go, that didn't work out. So that leads me to what you think, and we'll be on together tomorrow too at some point. This to me is the most important one. They're all important, but this one is unique because Dave Ziegler had a plan. Tom Telesco is more of a veteran.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Telesco has teased in front of him Jaden Daniels for 3 first-round picks at a minimum.
Right.
But he's normally more conservative and very good in the first round.
Correct.
You add that all together, it's must-see television and radio for me.
Yeah, and because of the momentum that they've built since that 2021 draft class, and then some of the moves that they've made in free agency, the Jacorian Bennett's, players like that, now Christian Wilkins, it's the starting point. The foundation that's in place is in a much better position than it was from 2021 to last year.
Mm-hmm.
You think about this. Last year we were talking about who's going to play linebacker, who's going to play cornerback, who are your defensive linemen other than Max Crosby.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do at this position? What are you going to do at that position? And now when you look at, let's just say, the defense, all right, they need a starting cornerback. It could be Jacorian Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
He started the season last year.
He did last year
as the starting cornerback. And it's not unusual for players to take big steps forward in their second year. Not to say that they won't draft a cornerback. I think that they will. But if the season started today, you could probably be fairly comfortable with Jacorian Bennett as your starter. Every other position, right as of right now, is solidified with a returning starter. And
Mhm.
Christian Wilkins isn't a returning Raider starter, but he's one of the best
One of
defensive
the
tackles in the league. Malcolm Kuntz, Adam Butler, and John Jenkins, Devine Diablo, Robert Spillane, Jack Jones, Nate Hobbs, Trayvon Merrick, Marcus Epps. These
I like
are all
it.
every one of those are returning starters who not only are they returning starters, they were the core of a defense that gave up the ninth fewest points in the NFL last year. So we're no longer going, what are they going to do here? What are they going to do that? Oh, they need a starting cornerback. You might be able to find one, whether it's in the first or second or maybe even the third round. So it's a much better starting point and foundation. And now they got to go figure out who's going to play right tackle and maybe right guard, depending on how all things play out. I think Thayer Munford's going to play into that somewhere, somehow. But you look at and obviously quarterback, but even if it's Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew, okay, this still should be a pretty good offense.
Absolutely.
And a competitive team overall. And if you can hit on your first round pick and that second and third round pick as well, that's just adding to what's already a pretty solid foundation.
Vinny Bonson, yours our guest, Vegas Nation, right here on Raider Nation Radio. I want to pivot to Devante for a moment. Every time Devante's asked a hard question, it could be at his camp, media, he knows it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
You ask the first question and do a great job at the press conferences. Where do you think his head's at going into the draft with O'Connell, Minshew, knowing Jaden Daniels is a possibility, just like J.J. McCarthy? Sure. His clock is ticking here. He's a very productive player, and there's no doubt that Mark Davis listens to him, Antonio Pierce is listening to him, and Tom Telesco. What do you think Devante wants?
Well, I don't think that there's any doubt that he would love to have an upgrade at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Every wide receiver in the NFL that's not on a Patrick Mahomes team or a Josh Allen team, you know what I'm saying, Joe Burrow, they're going to want to feel the same way, or they do feel the same way. But I think he also understands, all right, there's wanting something, and then there's the reality of getting something. And that's not guaranteed. Jaden Daniels, obviously, because the Washington Commanders hold the second pick and hold Jaden Daniels every bit as high esteem as the Raiders do and a lot of other teams do. If they're not willing to budge, they're not willing to budge. There's nothing you can do to go change their mind. So I think he understands as a reality of the situation. We'll see if it's a Michael Penix or a J.J. McCarthy, however this all plays out. But I also think if I shouldn't say that. Mm-hmm. But if the situation is it's Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew competing for the starting job, I think that Devante rolls up his sleeves and says, let's go get it, because I do know where his heart is. His heart is with the Raiders. And it's not increasingly hard, but it's to try to convey that to people, especially that aren't here in Las Vegas, right, that understand how much he loves living here in Las Vegas, how much he loves being a part of the Raider organization, the voice that he's been given in this organization, the challenge, the professional challenge of being part of the turnaround of this organization. And I think he's playing the long view with this and saying, this is where I want to be. This is the team I want to be with. And I want to be part of the solution moving forward. And I don't want to run from that challenge.
Vinny B is our guest as we wrap it up. What did your sources tell you about the Zach Wilson trade yesterday? What signal are you getting from Sean Payton, who I think it's been a train wreck since he's taken over? Mm-hmm. He's handled that roster horribly. It almost looks like they're in a panic. I was on Denver radio this morning, and they're all worried that Michael Penix wouldn't be there before 12. And I said, well, I think Penix will be there at 12 or 13. And I said, I talked to Raider fans that want to come back and get him later in the first round. So my ideal scenario would be take Fuaga at 13 and then trade back into the first round at some point and get Penix. But I think he'll be gone. He could be gone by Denver. What are you hearing?
Yeah, the feeling that I get is that they would, if they go quarterback, mm-hmm. They're more of a Bo Nix type of a team.
Okay.
But I do wonder about that quarterback situation for them because, are you going to – they need help all over the place. Mm-hmm. And I think that, for Sean Payton, I think he sized up the situation pretty early. And I think it was a very strong understanding that it was going to be 1 year with Russell Wilson. That's it. I'm moving on and we're going to rebuild this thing. And so I think that the power that he has, and I think the clout that he has, and the understanding that he has with ownership, like this is going to take a little while. So not necessarily in the position to have to rush at quarterback with that 12th pick. I think he's more of the mindset, I can scheme it up. I could get Stidham or maybe it's Zach Wilson to give us a competitive team or give us a chance at quarterback, but really it's about everywhere else on the roster. And if I had to go get a better quarterback later on down the road next year, the year after that, I don't think that he's upset with that. And I think he has enough confidence in himself. Give me a really good team around a quarterback, and I'll figure it out at quarterback just by my own scheming and play calling and expertise and development in a quarterback. So I'm still a little bit dubious on whether they go quarterback at 12.
Vinny B, as we wrap it up. So give me a moment in the draft. It could be early second pick or somewhere that you wouldn't be shocked to see where you're ready to pounce on this. You're going to say, man, I thought this could happen. It is happening, and it could be beneficial to the Raiders.
If they don't trade up, I don't know. Call me. I just think Michael Penix is somebody that you can put onto this team right now. We just talked about the foundation that they have right now. I think if he's there at 13, I think you take that swing. I think there's really good deep tackle class that you could go get a starting caliber player at number 44 and maybe even into the third round, but certainly they're at 44. And there's cornerbacks, whether it's in free agency or maybe even in the third round, that you can draft to expect to compete for a starting job early. I don't know that quarterback's going to be there. That caliber of quarterback compared to the tackles and the cornerbacks are going to be there at 44. And I'm really bullish. I could be completely wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. But I just feel like Michael Penix fits the Raiders. That's not to say that I value him more than Jaden Daniels. I know it's just unrealistic at this point on a Jaden Daniels and maybe even a Drake May. I think that he has a chance to be a special quarterback. And I think that this is the kind of city, this is the kind of team, this is the kind of mindset of challenging with the ball downfield, playing off play action, that he can make an immediate impact on this team. So at 13, if Michael Penix is there, that's who I would select.
We started with your column. I'll last one on that. When you look back at the Raiders' woes in the first round, not pointing fingers at Mayock, Gruden, Dave Ziegler, Josh McDaniels, did you sense it was just more bad luck? Did other teams have these issues along the way? Or is it, oh my God, the Raiders, since they've come to Vegas, really went all in to try to do the right thing, and it just backfired?
Well, I definitely think that they tried to do the right thing. I think they've reached a little bit. I think Klee was a reach. I think they felt like they needed a rush end, and especially in their scheme. Remember, he was an edge setting, pass rushing kind of a defensive end, fit what they were doing schematically. But I felt like they saw the need and reached for a player that, again, nobody really had as the fourth pick overall. I think Alex Leatherwood, there was an obvious need for linemen. They overreached for an offensive tackle at that position in the draft. They had needs at cornerback. They overdrafted a Damon. In that one, I think they just missed on that. They just missed on that one. And I think 2020 was a learning lesson for Mike Mayock, and he's talked about that. That was the COVID year. They weren't able to have anybody in for in-house visits. It was a year where he saw some players that he could transition from one position in college to another position in the pros. But because it was 2020 and offseason programs were crazy and not really happening, could you afford to draft players that you were going to immediately change to another position in the NFL? Was that the year to do that? And I felt like he learned that lesson going into next year. Look, we all felt like it was a miss with Alex Leatherwood, but as you also pointed out, and Tom Cable was a big Alex Leatherwood guy, the offensive line coach. You look at the accolades, Outland Trophy winner, a national champion, a longtime starter. You felt like, okay, even if it's a reach, gosh, the guy has the pedigree. He looks the part. It just didn't work out. I felt like he kind of got in his own way mentally, and that sometimes happens, where I think he took the defeats to heart. I think that affected how he played. He didn't take too well to some of the struggles that he had. So that's a whole other issue. It's hard to sometimes figure that one out. But I do feel like that 2020 class set up a much more, finite, better focused 2021 class that we're seeing now paid huge dividends.
Where can we have some tequila with you heading into the draft this weekend? Where will you be?
Well, over at La Casa. La Casa, our friends over at Tivoli Village. Mike Pareto, who's a huge Raider fan, as you know, is probably listening right now. What's up, Mike? So if you want to go lounge, talk some draft, talk some Raiders, head over to La Casa. If you're not here in Las Vegas, you can always go to DosCadasSpirits.com. You can make your order online. They'll ship it wherever you are, just going to doscotesandspirits.com.
We'll see you the next couple of days. Thanks,
Yep,
Vinny.
absolutely.
Really appreciate it.
You
How
too.
cool is that? Vinny Bonsignor in studio as we kick off the show, everybody. Really appreciate that. Vinny has his new column coming out, and follow him on social media because he'll be going big. I'm assuming for every pick, too. Every
Yes.
pick,
Oh, yeah.
live reaction on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everybody, we'll open up the phone lines for you. This is last call to hear from you. If you want to get through here over the next hour and a half, this is your moment to come on in. Tell us who the pick's going to be, what your philosophy is with the pick. Things change. As Vinny talked about, there's going to be a couple of pivot points in the first round. Again, I mentioned this morning, I went on a Denver radio station, and Denver was sitting here and asking me like I knew the pick. And I said to myself, look, I don't know for sure what the idea is going to be for the pick, but I will tell you it's going to be a very important moment what Denver does before the Raiders and what Minnesota does with the 11th and 13th pick before the Raiders, what Arizona does before the Raiders. That's big for Arizona. Arizona's at number 4. If Arizona trades out at number 4, then all of a sudden you're seeing other teams come in there and get a quarterback, maybe J.J. McCarthy. A lot's going to happen here. And the Raiders are going to have to wait patiently if they can't get up to number 2. My dream scenario has been get to number 2 no matter what it costs. But then again, if it costs way too much, are we going to be able to have draft parties the next couple of years? Sure. But we just want to have a pick in the first round. Are you willing to get Jaden Daniels and not have a first-round pick for years? You can get new first-round picks. You can make a trade. You can do certain things. But it'll be pretty lean around here if we go in and try to get a player for 3 first-round picks. I'm cool with it because I've been doing this 26 years. I want to win. I want to win at all costs, whatever it takes for Tom Telesco and Antonio Pierce to win. And if they got to do something balls out and it's really aggressive, you know me, I get behind all these coaches and GMs. I'm their friend. I'm their guy that has their back when they do this. And when they make mistakes, we talk about it. I'm not one of these clowns doing a radio show that doesn't take calls and doesn't sit here and take the shots coming at me or these coaches and all that. All I ask you to do is be respectful. You could criticize all these picks. I thought Vinny was pretty kind talking about the Raiders drafts of the past. Some of them have been disasters. In Vegas, disasters. That will not happen with Tom Telesco. Here he is with the pick. Chris from West Oakland on the clock. Go ahead, Chris. Mm-hmm. Headset I use for this.
Miami, even though they turned the ball over a couple. Thrown by 20 yards, and he almost caught him like they were punts. Marcus Epps has not intercepted a pass since 2021. You can't, in the modern NFL, have non-playmakers at the safety position. They've got to find a guy that'll get you 6 or 7 interceptions, not just hold the course, not give up big plays, which is nice, but 80% of the time in the NFL, JT, the team that wins the turnover battle wins the game. They've got to get a ball hawk or two in the secondary. Last year, the Raiders' best ball hawk was a linebacker, Robert Spillane. I'd love to see them pick up a ball hawking safety somewhere in the draft. And obviously, this team, you got to solidify the offensive line a little bit. I could be a tackle. But the main reason I call JT and what I've been hammering on for months now, it's time for a quarterback. Look, I was one of the people that said it was time for the Raiders and Derek Carr to part ways. But I said for 5 years, if you move on from a Derek Carr, you have to upgrade at the position. They didn't upgrade. Okay? So Derek Carr's gone now, and this isn't a Derek Carr phone call, revisionist history. But what they've done is put the Raiders in that vortex now where we can't every year or two be looking for a quarterback. We've got a 4th and a 6th rounder on the roster right now. Aiden O'Connell, look, dude, he was okay last year. Bad at times, but where is those flashes of brilliance like Will Levis in Tennessee? The 50-yard laser throws off the back foot. Where was the 400-yard game? The handful of plays that made you go, wow. There is none of that with Aiden O'Connell. Gardner Minshew's on his 4th team in 4 years. What? Are the Raiders smarter than everybody else? No. Bottom line, if they go into the season next year with these 2 guys at quarterback, I think they're going to have a hard time matching the 8 wins they did a year ago. And I'm with Vinny 100%. I love Michael Penix. This guy's led the best offense in college football the last 2 years. Arguably, he probably could have, if not should have, won the Heisman last year. He reminds me of a left-handed Warren Moon from Washington. Stands tall in the pocket, maybe the best pure passer. But the most important thing, JT, like Dan Orlovsky said yesterday on First Take, right now the Raiders don't matter. And I don't mean that by the brand. I mean that in the AFC with the quarterbacks they have. You've got a chance now to solidify this position for the next 10 years. It's time the Raiders stop saying, okay, we'll pick up a quarterback in later rounds. Quarterback's not a throwaway position. It's the most important position on the field times 10. And I am so adamant that this is their opportunity now to get that guy to build around for the next 10 years. I don't think anybody in their wildest dreams thinks Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell is the Raider quarterback for the 10 years. And I'm going to take it one step further. I know I'm dragging on. I don't want to wait to 13. If you think Penix is your guy, assuming you can't move up to 2 and get Daniels, if you think Penix is that guy and it gets to 8, 9, 10, you know what? Damn it. Sacrifice next year's first-round choice to move up to make sure you get your quarterback. It's all the crapshoot, but if you don't roll the dice on the quarterback position, you're relegating yourself to mediocrity. But if the quarterback does pay off, JT, whether it's Jaden Daniels or Penix, there is literally no price too steep to pay for a franchise quarterback. Don't believe me? Ask the Rams for how much they gave up for Matthew Stafford. Don't have a first-round pick till 2027, but damn it, they won a Super Bowl. I grew up watching The Snake when I started, and Jim Plunkett, okay? I don't want to just be in the mix for a wild card every year. I want a legitimate shot at taking down the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, and you're not going to do that without finding your franchise quarterback. Roll the dice, Raiders. It's time. I'm tired of waiting every other year wondering who our quarterback's going to be. Thank you, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Wow. Chris in West Oakland drops a bomb right out of the gate. Trade up to get Penix? Did I hear that correctly? Chris in West Oakland, who started with the Snake, saying don't wait for Penix? I got callers calling me saying I want Penix in the 2nd round. I got callers saying I want to trade back in late in the 1st round. I even got that fish hook in my mouth. Go get Fuaga at 13 and then trade back in and get Penix at 16, 17, 21. Chris makes a good point. He might not be there. If you want Penix because you can't get Daniels, you might have to go. He's right. You might have to go from 13 to 11 or 10 and go get him. That's what makes this so intriguing. Too rich for many people's blood, man. There's not a lot of people that have the heart for this. I'm telling you, I'll be there with Eric Allen. I'll be over at the Omnia for the pick on stage with Lincoln Kennedy. I'm telling you, a lot of Raider fans do not have the stomach for this day. It is going to be too much. You better start drinking your Modelo's at the Modelo party early because your heart's going to be palpitating when it gets to the 3rd, 4th pick. Raider Nation's going to be on the edge of their seat at all these parties at the black hole at the top of the black hole at Ghost Bar where Cisco will reside as he has the black hole party. How are you, buddy?
Always, man. Good seeing you over the weekend, man.
Same here. Thank you for that.
No, of course, man. Yeah, man, my take is this. man, I love my guy. West Oakland, he comes with it hard. He came hard. I have to disagree. I think we're good at quarterback. We can make it happen with the guys we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Get a quarterback in the late rounds. Get the best player available. We spoke on this.
Mhm.
I'm with you. Wonka number 1, if he's there, grab him. If not, go. My number 2 is Arnold Alabama. We got to break that draft curse that we've had on drafting corners. We haven't drafted a good corner since Namdi, and we got to break that streak. So those are my 2 picks, man. Those are my 2.
All right. So the party's on top of Ghost Bar. You'll be there Thursday night. Big crowd. Tell us about it.
Oh yeah, Ice Cold Modelo's, Raider Nation, the Black Hole. I mean, what more can you ask for? People know what we do, and we love providing a good time for the nation. And we're going to do another one over at the Ghost Bar with our guy, NFL alumni, Marlon.
Good.
Yeah, we're happy to be a part of those guys. Great guys. Shot a text to Jay Schrader, called me right back and said, "Hey,
Good.
man, I'm there." So,
Excellent. I'll see you there at some point later on, buddy. Thanks for the call.
sounds good.
All right.
Thank you.
Brought to you by the Black Hole. They got a good party coming up. I don't think there's a better view in Vegas than being there at the Ghost Bar outside as the sun's setting. I mean, the sun's out and you Thursday night, and you're looking out at the city, watching the pick. That'll be a good time too. Thanks to Vinny for coming in studio as we're brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat. They got a big William Hill Sportsbook. They got their PTs, their flagship right inside there, plus the 64 locations in the Valley. If you're looking for a place to watch the NFL draft, you can't go wrong at PTs. They'll have the TVs turned up, the drink specials, 5 to 7, right at the beginning of the draft nationally, half-price drinks at all the PTs here in the Valley. Jeff Sherman will join us from the Westgate on the odds to bet the NFL draft. It's a little bit confusing. A lot of people want to bet. How do you bet the draft? We're going to tell you that coming up. My conversation with Rich Gannon was really good. I did that Monday night from Wynn. We're going to play that probably about 1:05, and then Levi will join us. Levi Edwards over from inside the Raider facility where I'll be. I was at an event with Eric Allen last night for MS. It was incredible what I learned. Eric will tell you about that as we come to you live from the draft tomorrow. I think tomorrow and Q's going to join us from Detroit. Yeah, we got Q coming up. That's going to be good. And our draft coverage kicks off tomorrow. I'll be in the chair alongside Eric Allen. We'll have you covered for 3 hours leading up to the pick as we begin draft eve on the flagship of the Silver and Black. All right. Yeah, this headset, the whole monologue till now was just complete static. Never had that with this jack and my stuff. Really strange. All right, let me say hi to everybody here. What's going on, everybody? How'd that sound? We doing good? Everybody able to hear that? Hope everyone was able to hear all that and good. Look good. Look pretty good to me. Got a chance to hear Vinny. Appreciate that. Hair's a little out of whack. The hair going. Lucky I got this much hair left, man.
Okay, you want to call home and phone or someone.
There's the other
PTs. Our favorites are your favorites. Our usual is your usual.
All right, what else is going on, everybody? Yep, we're good. Thanks. 4. Oh, I got to get myself a drink of something. I'm going to see the Scorpions tonight. Bobby's going to be playing the Scorps. Yeah, well, come on, man. You know? All right. 60 people in the YouTube stream. 60. Hit subscribe. Hit like. Come on, do all the things we asked you to do, and we appreciate you. We will not be more than average with AOC and Minshew. Crazy talk. I say go with the big arm at 13 with Penix. Wow. Raider Deb. What you're saying, JT, don't want to miss Fuaga. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Kenneth, Don't blow your blank for the next 2 to 3 years. Don't go chasing a dream. That's really short-sighted. Well, it might be a dream, but it's how you get it's the only way to get a good quarterback. 805 in the building. Oxnard. Lance says J.C. Latham. Need to place a camera in a specific spot. You're right. Don't worry about being director of the podcast. Just listen and get into the chat. We're not looking for a director. We're not looking for criticism. We're putting this up so everybody can see. JT and Vinny, there you go. Thought I was off today. What are you talking about? I was off yesterday for the Aviators. Bobby, did the Aviators win or lose?
Oh, they did not win.
They did not win. Okay.
They most certainly did not win.
That's a sneeze. Thank you.
The following is a real customer review from Capriati Sandwich. So incredibly good, you will cry while eating. Yes, sometimes.
Oh, man.
That's why our award-winning cheesesteaks come with a napkin. One side for mopping up delicious melted cheese.
Let's make sure we get out short segment for Jeff Sherman. Yes. Chris in West Oakland watching on YouTube. Appreciate that. You got to get in there. You got to subscribe. We're rolling. We're picking up some good numbers here. My son is happy with the progress, as they say in London, the progress. Yeah, so tomorrow I'm on from 2 to 5 from the Raider facility. In the old days, we used to stay through the pick. And I guess now the NFL does not allow local radio stations to be on during the draft. So I used to go through the whole first round, but now we'll get out before the first pick. Then I'll race over to the Omni nightclub for the Raiders draft party. That'll be fun. Yep, we'll go from there.
The best happy hour in town, 5 to 7 p.m. and midnight to 2 a.m.
Yeah, well, I think you want guys with a bunch of starts underneath their belt. You don't want a one-hit wonder. You don't want a guy that had a one-year success and say that's the guy. No, I think you want somebody that's been battle-tested, that, like I said, talked about it. It's been through adversity, that's had challenges, that had to either have a competition battle. He wasn't just handed the keys day one. He's kind of went through that because that's going to be a process here, whatever we do. You know what I mean? I don't care if bringing a veteran or not. Aiden's our starter. They're going to beat out Aiden. You know what I mean? That's the fact. And that's not coaching talk. Aiden did a hell of a job, man. And the thing about it, he hasn't blinked. With all this noise and all this stuff about the quarterback play, he just comes to work every day, works out, and his thing is beautiful.
That's Antonio Pearson. He really loves Aiden O'Connell for what he did last year. JT, back with you. Turn it up. So I get a phone call last night watching the NBA, and my phone rings. And I pick it up, and it's my buddy Chris from Sacramento, and he goes, "Hey, JT, what's happening, man? Can't wait to see you tomorrow." And I go, "You mean Thursday, the draft?" He goes, "No, tomorrow. Remember I told you last month I'm coming in to take you to the Scorpions. So I'm going to the Scorpions tonight." That was not part of my bingo card before the draft. But I love concerts, and it's a great night, so I'm going to go see the Scorps. I heard the show's great. The residency's great, so I'll be doing that tonight. I'll be able to sleep in tomorrow and then get ready for the draft, and it's going to be wild, man. It's going to be wild. Can't wait to see how this plays out, and I know Raider Nation, this is what's so cool about being on a flagship radio station, something we never had in Vegas in football because it wasn't football here, but something that they just didn't get right in the Bay Area because the Bay Area never backed the Raiders on radio the way they should have, and they didn't. And I know that better than anybody, including the 6 program directors who have been fired up there and everybody else. They didn't listen to me, but it should have been a holiday in the Bay Area for a Raider draft. And we've had the Raider rally, and we've had some big moments over the years up in the Bay, and bigger things are happening now in Las Vegas. But the Raiders got to get out of the first round with 1 or 2 players, and they got to be starters. 1 or 2 players got to be starters. Let's get this right. Hey, I want to thank the DeCastroverde Law Group, proud partners of our NFL draft. You know, a lot of attorneys are out there buying their way into magazines. I'm voted number 1. No, I'm number 1. No, my muscles are bigger than yours. not the DeCastroverde brothers. The brothers have your back. Their dad was a legend building this law firm. They've taken it to the next level. All of their great attorneys, the young people that surround them every day as they fight for you. If you get into an accident, 702-222-9999. The brothers have your back. The DeCastroverde Law Group. Thor is in Summerlin. Thor, thanks for having me over to your house the other day. I had a wonderful time. How are you?
JT, man, I'm still recovering, brother. It was a long week. I just got back from the Bay. Had a great time with the family out there. Ran into a couple Raider fans from Oakland that were on the flight coming out here to Vegas with me back out here last night. And I'm fired up, brother. I'm fired up. Luckily, I got one day to kind of recover today, because then we're back at it tomorrow. We got to get to this draft. And honestly, JT, man, I want to get the right tackle. I love a couple of them. I like the kid out of Oregon State and Penn State. There's a couple of them, right? I just want to get the line fixed, because no matter what quarterback we end up running with, if the line's not fixed, they're in trouble. So that's where I'm at. I would love to think, sure, maybe we could come back to the end, back into the first round and pick up Penix. I don't know if I want to get Penix without the line being too right. And I don't know if Penix starts even, right?
No, he doesn't.
If he's the fourth quarterback off the board, I don't even know if he's a first day starter. I feel like we're close enough to being a playoff contender that we need impact starters in the first round. So that's why I'm kind of. But we're real Raider fans. So if we end up somehow going with Penix, then go Penix, go. Let's go.
Absolutely.
I hope he's the future.
All right, Thor.
And I want anyone we draft to be a success. That's
Thank
it.
you.
Let's get it. And I'll see everyone at the Ghost Bar tomorrow night. Let's
Take
go.
care, Thor. Have a good one. Appreciate the call. Thor makes an interesting point. Very interesting point that needs to be debated more on the Raiders flagship station. This team is close to being a perennial playoff team. They are. I know that Vegas has them at 6.5 wins. JT, you're a homer. How could you say playoffs? Last 2 years, made the playoffs with Rich Bisaccia. Okay, didn't win the game. First and goal at the 9. I wish I was calling the plays. And then last year, we were knocking on the door to the playoffs until 3-0 loss to Minnesota. Remember that? Pretty close to the playoffs. So I think the roster is good enough to go to the playoffs via the wild card often. How do we get to the top of the division with Mahomes just in the beginning of the prime of his career? You have to have someone in the conversation who's young, who has the ability of Mahomes. He won't be Mahomes, but he'll have that type of ability. Jaden Daniels is the one, because Caleb Williams will not be available. Jaden Daniels could be. My best scenario would be the Commanders looking around their office going, we don't like Jaden Daniels. And I don't know how you can't like the kid, but maybe someone in that building's going, I don't want to take Jaden Daniels. Let's move on. He doesn't want to be here. He wants to be a Raider. Let's pass on him and trade the pick. And then we get Jaden Daniels. But it's going to cost 3 first-rounders. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. You think it's draft picks? The cost of a first-round draft pick? That's a lot of money. Mark Davis doesn't get in the way of money. I can promise you that. Mark wants to win. Mark will do whatever it takes to win. Will that be an elite quarterback via a blockbuster trade or stay at home? But as Thor said, can this team win playoff games or get to the playoffs with Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew? Yeah, but a lot of good things have to happen for that to happen. You need everything to fall correctly for that to happen. So that's how it's going to play out. Hey, we're brought to you by Resorts World. Doghouse Saloon will be pumping for the NFL draft, plus all their venues and restaurants. Head on out to Resorts World. Woo! We are moving, man. You get a behind-the-scenes look at radio, man, and how fast it goes. Bobby's keeping a tight ship today. Be right back.
Raider Nation, what's your name? Hey, man. I got one idea. We got maybe come up with this bucket. Raider Nation, what's your name?
official and exclusive local
Hello,
casino
hello.
partner of the Las Vegas Raiders and Allegiant Stadium. Bring
Yeah,
your
what's your
friends,
name, man?
have some fun, but always bet on black. Visit their 10
China?
casinos across the valley. Don't let the game get out of hand.
CHAN?
Please bet responsibly.
Where you from? Okay. I got two ahead of you. Hold on. What's up?
Are you planning on using your tax refund to pay down your balances? Did you know that Panda Law can triple the amount you pay off with our debt settlement program? Hi, we're the attorneys from Panda Law. Pay down debt with your tax refund. Call us first to learn how we can maximize the amount you pay off, or even get you out of debt entirely. Here's an example. If you're getting $3,500 back from the IRS, you can get rid of more than $10,000 of debt by exercising your right to have an attorney settle that debt for you. If you have debt and want to know how much you can eliminate with your tax return, call Panda Law for a free debt analysis. Start the year off right. Get out of debt. Call Panda.
Hey, John.
Yes, Dad?
It's Tuesday, and we're still selling lots of cars.
Of course we sell lots of cars. At Finley Toyota, we make purchasing a car super easy. From the moment the customer arrives, they are greeted by our amazing staff. Or if it's service they need, one of our top-notch service specialists will take over and manage their repair from start to finish in our state-of-the-art facility. Also here at Finley Toyota.
Yeah, of course. But on a Tuesday?
That's right, Steph. At Finley Toyota, we sell the most cars every day of the week, even on a Tuesday.
Backing down has never been an option for our family. Our father battled communism in Cuba before coming to the U.S. and studying law at night. Today, we proudly carry on the Castordi family legacy. His brothers raised to fight for the triumph, killed for his immunity. Two Christ and family, we bring the very best in the team to fight for you.
You want to do a crosstalk with Q?
Yeah. That's the last segment. We're 45. Talk back and forth for 5 minutes. You sign off.
Yeah. Fabian, what's up, man? Bay Area coverage sucked. We won't be there tomorrow. That's a bummer. That's why you got us here. Thank you for that. Would love to have seen you at the draft party.
Just all set. This is Telesco coming back.
Telesco. Look, this team's going to make the playoffs on defense. If the team has an ass-kicking deep, if this Christian Wilkins lives up to what he's supposed to at max, quarterbacks are not going to be able to get the ball out of their hand. Really, it's going to be chaos. It's going to be more incompletes on third down and the Raiders getting better field position. That's the whole season to me. Get a corner, get another corner, and go after it. Did you say you have Jeff on hold? Okay. The choice today, which is a Dr. Pepper. I will say Dr. Pepper, pound for pound, might be the best soda. If you're a Coke or Pepsi guy, I get it, but Dr. Pepper really gets it. It's an unbelievable brand. It's a unique taste. It's just fantastic. And I'm not a soda guy, man. We don't have soda in the house. Boys don't drink soda. We got water in the house, water and Modelo's. Hey, did anybody see the Modelo sneakers I got yesterday? Jesus, what a nice gift. We re-signed Modelo. The Modelo sneakers are up on my Facebook page, JT the Brick. Hey, I gave you a read for DeCastro Verde. I'm going to do Grimaldi's here.
Well, this would be a big step for them. Always the second year at full officer program. They don't have to worry about training for the combine, getting ready for the draft, making visits. They're like Wilson already missed a lot of time in the draft process, and I think even OTAs with foot injury. So for a player like him that has a full real off season, it's going to be really beneficial. Then in the corner, same way. I mean, a lot of these kids, as they grow, like last year when they were drafted, they weren't just drafted over a year. So expect and hope to see big strides from that whole class. I think they all made the team last year, which is pretty darn good. I think it was 10 players that were drafted, 10 players made the team. A lot of them some had bigger roles than others, but they all had a role. So yeah, we'll be counting on those guys.
That's Tom Telesco as I'm back live on the YouTube stream. Look at this, live in Raider Nation Radio. And we're brought to you by Grimaldi's, the best pizza I ever had. Quick update, we're going to have a remote from Grimaldi's coming up here pretty quickly for Vegas Golden Knights in the postseason. So get ready to come see us at Grimaldi's Boca Park. We'll have the details for you coming up. Jeff Sherman joins us, VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate. Jeff, great to talk to you. I'll jump in. Some listeners are confused about gambling on the draft. I know the window's closed. You were able to book some bets here. Typically, how do fans bet on the NFL draft?
The week leading up to it. So you saw some of them put it up last week. We went up with ours Monday afternoon and had them up until Tuesday afternoon. And we generally close them through the night when we have the NFL guys here booking them. And then we closed them yesterday, like I mentioned, after they ended up leaving, because we have a set team responsible for those that really dig deep into it. So you don't just see them left on the board all the time at a lot of books. They come down, they go up. Dealing with the rumors all the time. And we decided to close them yesterday when we could have left them up until today at 5 o'clock. But there's so many rumors that keep going closer you get to the draft that we just thought it was in our best interest to close them down yesterday.
Yeah, I think it would be very risk oriented also because of all the rumors and what could happen there in general. Is it a decent handle? Do you see this growing for your business in the future here? Where are we? In the beginning, middle, or when did this start where you could bet on the NFL draft? And do you actually think it's going to get bigger and bigger the next couple of years?
Well, it was about 7 years ago, I believe. It was the first time we were able to take bets in Nevada, and our other jurisdictions, we take it where we can too. But it feels like it's hit a plateau. Last year when the draft was in Las Vegas, we had more of an extensive menu. And now that it's going to other places, the only interest we really see in this is from really sharp players. The general public doesn't get involved in these. A lot of it's talked about in the media, but it doesn't get bet through the window unless it's really respected play. So we're trying to we have 24 draft props that we had this year, and I don't see it growing much beyond that unless it does take place in Las Vegas again.
Jeff Sherman, VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate. They will have a bash for the NFL draft. It's unbelievable over there. I would get there if you can, if you're looking for a spot to watch it and partake. I want to get to the NBA playoffs. I believe LeBron will lose in 4 or 5 the most. It just doesn't seem like he can win in this matchup, 10 in a row for Denver. The liability on the Lakers for you on the property and the fact that Laker fans never give up. As the odds get longer, Laker fans will come in on the back end. What are you seeing from Lakers Denver?
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. We're sitting at the 60-1 on the Lakers for the title, and we're still taking wagers on that. We have liability on the Lakers for the series price. Right now, must-win situation for the Lakers at home, down 2-0. The line is pick 'em. The unique situation with the must-win. So you see the first half line, Lakers -1.5. When you get into these type of situations, the first half line and the game line don't correlate. So you look for unique situations like that. But we expect a lot of Lakers support here because if they go down 0-3, you can write it off. So a well-bet game this is going to be tomorrow night.
And my Knicks are looking pretty good, and I know there was sharp money on Philly, and Philly is complaining about the refereeing down the stretch. The Knicks with 8 points in the final minute, really to steal a game at the Garden, and they have a commanding 2-0 lead going back to Philly.
Yeah, and Knicks take a commanding lead, like you mentioned. Last game we did see a lot of Knicks support. We stayed on the low end because the line went up with the rumors about Maxey maybe missing due to illness, but we felt there was no way he was going to miss the game. So we stayed low, saw a lot of Knicks support. That game was good for the house. Now you're looking at a must-win situation for the 76ers. This line opened 76ers -4. It's up to 4.5. I could see it creeping even higher than that.
Jeff Sherman, as we move to hockey, Vegas Golden Knights. Our team here locally played tonight. I think if they win the game, the series will be over quickly, but I expect Peter DeBoer and Dallas, that place is going to be a madhouse tonight as they're looking to jump on VGK early.
Yeah, and you have a really falsely high price on this because of the must-win for Dallas after the Knights took game 1. Dallas is -170, Knights +150. You'd never see this type of price if it wasn't this type of situation where Dallas can't afford to go down 0-2.
All right, and finally, your expertise, among other things, is golf. And put in perspective what's going on with Scotty Scheffler as I watched Harbor Town coming off the Masters and the way he is just torching the field and hitting greens and putting, and his short game is amazing. I guess the closest thing to compare this to is Tiger in his prime around 2000.
Yeah, I've been doing golf odds for 30 years now, and we always look for, after Tiger was in his prime, who's the next one? Was it Rory, Dustin Johnson, Rahm?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's Scheffler and what his metrics are doing. And even this last week at Heritage, that looked like a letdown spot coming off his Masters win, and he still ends up winning. Now you see his odds adjusted for the upcoming majors down into the 7-2 range, and we put up, will he win the Grand Slam, which, one player to win all four in the same calendar year is, unheard of. And we opened 80-1. We're sitting at 40-1 and still taking wagers on it. So it's nothing but a Scotty Scheffler train right now.
Thanks, Jeff. What are you doing for the draft on Thursday and Friday? What's going on in the book?
We'll have it on every screen with sound. I mean, we have a great response from the public to come in and watch it, even though, like I said, betting is closed on it, but everyone has their bets already in, and we'll definitely have it on with sound for everybody.
Thank you, Jeff. Have a great weekend.
All right, thanks. You too.
That's Jeff Sermon, VP of Risk Management over at the Westgate. And again, we prepare to talk to him every 2 weeks, and it's tough to gamble. I mean, the house takes down the bets, and they limit what's going to happen here with gambling on the draft and all that. I think that's going to change. The rumors have a big effect on all this. All the rumors that come in, and there's liability for the sports book. It's complicated. It's just not like betting a game. When you bet in the NFL draft, you got to be sharp to do that. Murph is in Buffalo on the flagship on the mobile app. Go ahead, Murph.
Hey, JT. Thanks for having me, sir.
Thank you.
Excited for this draft. I want to start off just saying kudos to Mark Davis for bringing a guy like Telesco, hiring Antonio Pierce, getting us, headed in the right direction, I feel. With that being said, I want a quarterback. I'd love to, have that franchise QB. If Telesco can get it done, well, that'd be just amazing. If not, we'll take the best player there. I really am interested to see if they don't take a quarterback, how Aiden O'Connell has, progressed whole off season. And I got to say, I do have faith in that guy if we don't get a quarterback.
Well, I hope you do, and appreciate the call. Thank you. I have a lot of faith in Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew because, I'm with Raider Nation here, and I want the team to do well. I mean, how much faith do I have? I don't have as much faith with those two quarterbacks as Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow or when Tom Brady was playing in his prime. You can't. You just hope that they can do the job if they get called on. If they get called on to win, and you just hope they play well. Not elite, not great. The Raider quarterbacks are not built to be elite week in and week out. Do we get that? Mahomes is built to be elite every game. That's how come he wins MVPs. If Aiden O'Connell plays great over a 3-game stretch, everyone's going to throw confetti up at Allegiant Stadium. Okay, well, we want Aiden O'Connell, if he starts to play 17 games, we want him to be great in 12 of them, 13. Can he develop into that guy? Sure. All right, we say goodbye to our YouTube audience, which is fantastic. We had up to 60 people in there today, which feels like a mini radio show. I greatly appreciate it. JT the Brick, YT. This hour will be good, like they all are. Rich Gannon, Levi Edwards, and Q Myers all on deck. Cool. All right, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to check out here. We got a replay of Rich Gannon coming up. I think you're going to love it. So you can listen on Raider Nation Radio or listen on the mobile app. I want you to listen to this Rich Gannon interview. It won't work well here on YouTube, but it was really good. Hit me up at JT the Brick on Twitter in the next 24 hours with your draft pick. If you got something there that I need to know, that you think that you have a gut feeling on, let me know. Appreciate it. Please hit subscribe and share this with everyone else. Oh, and a new podcast is up. The new podcast, JT and Looney. Let me put that in the chat. JT and Looney, wherever you get your podcast. Let me get that. Looney podcast. That is up. Brand new on the draft. I think you'll like that. That is it. Thank you, Fabian. Thank you, crew. Appreciate everyone there. Rich Gannon coming up next.